believe it's morning. I'm alive, but that's the last thing on my mind.
It was supposed to be my first video, but I totally messed up the sound, so it's gonna be this one. But it's a really important song for me. One of my favorite artists, Eyedea, and Even Shadows Have Shadows is the song I'm gonna do. If I had to choose one song, my favorite song lyrically of any song in any genre, it would be By the Throat by Eyedea, which I might do at some point. But this one I really like. I think it's a super unique song, and for a bunch of different reasons. Eyedea, Michael Larson, rest in peace. He's obviously passed. Also went by Oliver Hart. I believe he started as a poet and is considered by a lot of people to be one of the best lyrically, if not the best. And him and Aesop Rock, I've always considered to be essentially modern day Shakespeare. Even Shadows Have Shadows is a song I think is never going to have the same reaction. It's so unique that everyone's going to have a different take on it. There are some themes that are consistent. I don't personally think he's in a bad place in the song. I just think it was always his worldview. He saw the world through this type of lens. He was still an amazing person, and a lot of people, have mourned his passing. But I don't think this was necessarily a negative phase. I think this was really kind of how he saw the world. And I think he had a lot of trouble with trying to figure out how to deal with feeling so outside of his own self, which I think normal people have momentary, lapses of that. But it seemed like that was all he could experience, which, it's kind of, I think it's kind of sad. It's got to be pretty torturous. But let's get into it. Even Shadows Have Shadows.
Stand alone, burned every bridge over the troubled water. No longer hiding from my personality disorder. A stronger tide is coming. I've been running, trying to function fine without my mind climbing out this fucking corner. I was born a thorn away from the rotten petals of forgotten rebel craft in the absence of heaven's heavy hand to develop an evident level of benevolence. So it's probably better I sold my soul to the devil. This is a message to anyone I met that thinks they know me. Don't pretend to understand none of the issues that I'm holding. I was in a rush to grow up. Look, mom, no cuts, just a stomach of disgust and the fear that I might go nuts this year. If I don't slow up, I'll see you.
Other reactions to this, especially people who didn't know Eyedea at all before and knew like how good he really was. And honestly, he's a legend. He's a freestyling legend, battle rapping legend, and then a lyrical, arguably a genius. But I think that. But it depends on what you think are good lyrics. But yeah, I've heard the take that this song sounds amateurish, like the beat. It's like, somebody who's got something, you got a little talent, up and comer, but the production and the beat, it's just not quite there. It doesn't mesh up. It's a little off, and I think I understand why someone might think that. What I've always thought with this song is he's purposely made it feel off. It's supposed to feel disorienting, because I believe that's how he's feeling as he's describing all of this. He's disoriented a little bit, or he's becoming more so, and I think the beat and the production reflects that, and it does feel off, and it makes you a little uncomfortable actually. But yeah, that's just my take on the sound and the beat being the way that it is.
On my way, one day this shit'll kill me, but I guess that it's okay. I've lost all faith in a world so full of hate, and I don't fucking love music, I just use it to escape away. Walk between wanting to punch someone in the face and putting a bullet in my head head to leave the human race. Everything takes its toll, but there's no tolls I can take. I haven't yet found a good reason to be ways in the corroded bones I have behind my smile. I'm angry at the universe for the way she treats me now. It keeps me down, stealing all my energy, feeling like my enemy, concealing my identity, not dealing with my tendencies. I feel the skin and then I squeeze a real imprinted head disease. Not ill in this century, I'm kneeling to the entity who built this penitentiary, as filthy as a centipede and guiltless innocence, cause he was willing to just let me bleed while the war again fades. In 10 years, no check to me, I'll be in the same place. This planet's just an overpopulated mental hospital. Each zombie walk around constitutes another obstacle. So here it is, I'm finally coming out my shell. All 19 years of my life I've been in conflict with myself. I'm insecure about every facet of my existence, from my addictions to the condition I choose to live in. Who you kidding? I suffer from excess anxiety.
Yeah, this song is the definition of intense. I recently did a song on Jaron Benton's My Grandma's Basement. I think there's a similar feeling of just inner angst that is just exploding out of the person and into song form, and I think Jaron captured it really, really well. His is more geared toward professional achievement, like he's right on the cusp, and he's trying to become that rapper people know, and all the angst that comes with that, with the breaking through as a professional artist in what you're doing. This is Eyedea, the person. This is who Eyedea is, his self, his struggle, all the way up to this moment. I don't think it's not really specifically about his professional whatever. I don't even think that was on his mind. I think he just did his thing. What strikes me the most about Even Shadows Have Shadows and Eyedea at this point, 19 years old, I'm totally amazed by the level of introspection that he has at this point in his life. I've never heard a 19-year-old speak like this, and the fact that he's expressing himself in this way with this level of intensity too is what blows my mind. Is this guy this has been going on in his mind over and over since he could probably first string two thoughts together. I mean, I think there is some a tragic nature to this, because it sounds like a torturous existence. I mean, to be this hyper aware, this level of introspection at such a young age, to feel so outside of your own self to the point where you really don't have much of a connection with other people. It's got to be exhausting.
A product of pollution in American society. Stare into my eyes and see the hell that burns inside my mind. And I no longer have an ego I can hide behind. But I've been fine disregarding my insanity. Every form of art isolates you from humanity, but it's revolt against being forced that so-called education for a decade and 3 years of headaches for my peers. Now I realize I could have learned more on my own. They taught me how to know everything except my soul, which is everything I need to grow, everything that keeps me whole, everything that ever meant anything to Eyedea. So I leave a golden hope to rip the leash that holds my focus, but the fact remains the same. I'm still bound by chains. It doesn't matter if your chain is 10 feet or 100 feet, the fact remains the same. You still bound by chains. Some people say I'm changed and it's harder to relate to me. Good, I never liked you. Our friendship was make-believe. Peeling the mask back and revealing the rap that's been filling my organs, drilling short distorted portions of morbid masochistic torture that unfortunately crafted an interest to orbit my portrait and inflict my image with disorder. The minutes get shorter, walls start to close in. Feels like the brain is hanging on by one clothespin. I've hidden in the darkness for too long. I make it look alright when on the inside it's all wrong. I want life to change, but I don't know if it can. For a man, a machine, or whatever the fuck I am, I stand alone. Burned every bridge over the troubled water.
He couldn't hold this back any longer. It had to come out. Like, he had to express this, what kind of feels like madness to him inside his own head, this constant rumination. I'm sure he probably wondered, like, is everyone else going through this? And this was just the point where it had to come out.
No longer hiding from my personality disorder. You wanna die my life? We'll come and stay in madness, his favorite little corner. Cause even shadows have shadows, and my secrets are eating me, eagerly feeding to scream my dreams away, but they keep even shadows have shadows. To the guilty subconscious of an actor who murdered his childhood to stop the audience. Even shadows have shadows. How am I to break free from my fears when I don't like what I see and I can't feel what I hear? Shadows have shadows. So don't judge my book by its cover, cause my story's just as fucked up as any other.
Yeah, the line that always sticks out to me is that he murdered his childhood to stop the audience's laughter. It's definitely a. I mean, it's a really powerful statement. That, I mean, he feels like he's been on the spot, in a spotlight since he was a kid. So he's felt outside of his own self, outside of his body, just probably like outside of himself, looking at himself going through life, and just excruciatingly aware, or in his mind, that everyone's staring at him and judging him, and all this when, and that's not really the case, and it's just, he talks about peeling the mask back, that he's an actor, and it's just, and I mean, it's just, I feel for him. Like, my heart just goes out to him, because this was such a, it sounds like just such a frustrating way to feel on a consistent basis, just to always, every, like, people are self-conscious, and whatever, maybe it's worse for some people, more so out in public, and whatever, you think people are looking at you. I'd say most of the time they're probably not, or they glance at you and they're already back on Instagram or something. But to him, it's like, this is like that on steroids. This is that times 100, and it's serious. That's like debilitating. And I, I mean, I think his writing and his music was his only escape. Well, he literally says that he didn't even do this because he loved it. He did it because it was an escape. So I think that's where that comes in. Is he, like, basically would explode if this doesn't come out at some point, and there's no other way for him to get it out than through this medium, which he's amazing at. And I mean, being inside his own head to this degree made him the thinker he was, and helped him become the writer he was, the lyricist, the musician. But it also was his constant torture, like, just what is it, I don't know why I know this, the sort of Damocles or something, but just like always hanging over his head. I would say millions of people out there, no idea. He's a legend. He'll always live on with us. He really is. He's gonna live forever. But was it worth it to have that type of painful existence? I think would be, if you ever think that you would want to be like that, or that you would want to be remembered like that. For artists, I would say, especially with writing, and like, he's known as a great writer and lyricist, I don't know if the trade-off is worth it, because I would say most of them are in their own head, and it's generally almost more painful than it is rewarding. I mean, just the way he was, the way he is, it's not a surprise here at the end that with this thing about Puff Daddy offering him a deal. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. He was coming off, winning that big battle rap thing where he killed it. That would be awesome to go, like, react to. I love the final battle is hilarious. He just destroys him. But off the top of his head, he was just, no one was really better. I'd never seen anything like it. Yeah. So I mean, taking a deal with P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever his name is now, like, I think that's really like the antithesis of what Eyedea was. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is true, but also it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that he would turn that down. Again, this was just an escape for him. This was almost a survival mechanism for him, as opposed to, a materialistic pursuit in any sense. I had mentioned this when I recorded this the first time about what I thought "even shadows have shadows" means, and I need to think about it a little bit more, but really I kind of think, without going into too much detail, I think it's like everyone has a shadow, has kind of a shadow self, He talks about the secrets they're eagerly feeding. So I think he's talking about like a shadow version of himself, and that everybody has it, and that it's kind of arrogant to think you could ever know someone else 100% because their shadow self they're not going to reveal to you. And then that also that there's layers to that shadow self. Like even that shadow self has another imprint, another layer. That's really the message is like you can think you know somebody and they're going to present to you who they are, and even somebody you're very close with, but there's that shadow's there, and that shadow has its own shadows that it doesn't even want to address or face, and then it goes on and on. And while that may not be a huge amount of who you are, and you can truly be very close with somebody, there, I think, at least from his perspective, he's saying that shadow, like that's never going to be revealed to you, you know. So yeah, that's my amateur take on that. Yeah, so that's Eyedea. Even shadows have shadows, and one of the best to ever do it. I would suggest taking a look at his battle raps too. They're awesome. But I will see everyone on the next one. Peace.